Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm Pedro Pinto, live in Lisbon, and I'm absolutely delighted to welcome you to the first ever MIP Alumni Association Conference. Over the course of the day, we're going to be joined by a star-studded lineup from the world of football to talk about some of the most insightful and important topics in the management of the game. Before we start our first panel, let me remind you that this conference is being streamed around the world live on Twitter, and please engage with us, interact with us. You can use the hashtag MIP Alum Talks to send your questions, your comments, and your overall observations regarding the variety of matters that we'll be discussing here today. I'm sure that you may be Googling MIP now. Don't, because we have a couple of people who can tell you all about this program, which was created by UEFA and means Executive Master for International Players. It is my pleasure to welcome our first two guests of the day. Live from Lyon, it's Bruno, Cheyrou, and live from Munich, it's Bianca, Rech.
Thank you, Pedro. A big alumni welcome to everyone watching and listening in from around the world. We know that this conference will reach every part of the football family today, and we're very proud to have taken the decision to ensure absolutely anybody with an interest in football can be with us. We know the world's leading decision makers, professional football players, and the globe's media watching this. We also welcome the young people, football fans, campaigners, and those from communities who have not felt as included as they should in our industry. We are truly honored to have you all with us today. We believe football and these conferences should be for everyone, and we will welcome each and every one of you.
Yes, Bianca. It's so good to open the doors of the MIP Alumni Conference to the world. And now, for many of you, it will be the first time you will hear from our group. We are just a growing network of former international players who have been graduated from the UEFA Master for International Players. And for so many of us, this master has been incredibly important in our lives to help us to make the transition between the pitch and a management role or a leadership roles. We gained also an important insight into leadership in business and football. We explored the opportunities to make our game even better and also reviewed the mistakes of the past. When we graduated, we knew we had a collective mission as former players who are now in leadership roles. So after discussions and a lot of WhatsApp messages, as you can imagine, the MIP Alumni was born. And we are about 50 members right now, and we will welcome the third promotion into our family soon.
The MIP Alumni has three pillars at the heart of its foundation: education, expertise, and integrity. And since we came together in 2018, we have been sharing good practice and putting on seminars to continue our learning and development and to strengthen our network. Our group has been no secret, but today marks our first real step into the public. This conference presents an opportunity for us to be more visible within the football industry and be proactive, sharing our aims and ambitions. We strongly believe that the MIP Alumni has so much to offer to the game, and this conference is another major step on an exciting new journey as a group. To give you a sense of who we are and what we have been up to, we wanted to share this short film with you from our last physical coming together.
With the alumni, we try to get together with each other and share our experience in our jobs and in our roles, but also to defining our role. So what is our purpose for the future? Our network will be huge in the next few years. We're talking right now already over 50 people, 50 players, amazing personalities, amazing characters, and also very big roles. And I think we really have a chance to change the future in football.
The MIP Alumni was really about us recognising the value we had within the room. That we had so many people who had achieved such fantastic things in their chosen career of football, but now the transition out of that, having looked at where you want to be, if it's coaching or management or administration, and us all being vulnerable in that moment and not really knowing where we want it to go, but being that support system for each other.
We knew there's an MIP 2 coming, there will be an MIP 3 or 4, and this group, the power we will have in the football world, and we will have a voice. And this we could see for the future, and this is why we decided we really we can have an active role to change something.
Well, I think it's been really helpful. Andrea is great, we had it in the course, and it's great for us, the MIP. We have all the good intentions, all the experience, all the guys, all the people joining, but I think, which is obviously probably the most important thing, is knowing why we're here, what our objectives, what we want to give to the people of football.
It was quite interesting to have the perspective of a really good journalist. It was interesting to hear his perspective and how it works for him.
This is, let's say, the main day where you get together and you know, oh, we're having a game in the evening. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing with you meeting with your friends and just playing football outside on a 7-a-side and having fun after a very long day learning. And this is also, it's our passion. We want to go back on the field.
It's very important, as much as we try to learn and move out to second careers and understand more the other side of football. We always play football, we always kick the ball, so having the ball at our feet is it's our love, and having it today and after all the class work, it's always great, it always puts smiles on our face. All the boys have been talking about the game, about the competitiveness, but you can see a very close game, few good goals, few tackles, so it's really enjoyable. Every time we touch the ball, we just smile, and that's what we've been doing all our life.
The MIP is really a hands-on approach, and you get a great network here, and people who already are in their probably dream position, but also people who are still looking for the way or their spot in this world.
It's been an incredible 2 years. I think in a way we're all happy being graduated today because we've created a great group of friends and family, as we like to call it.
One of our values is education. We want to involve ourselves in lifelong learning. That's important. I cannot come up with an industry that's more dynamic than the football industry. It keeps moving forward, moving on. So should you if you want to stay in this business. So there's no better place to do so than in our alumni.
Yeah, so it was a nice film with you, Bianca, as the main actor. We saw you a lot talking, but it was nice. So what's next? What will be in the store today? This conference will be representative of some of the areas of football we want to really influence positively. So we'll have a few topics like women football, with a lot of challenges and opportunities created now because women football is going on very fast, very quickly. And the last World Cup in France showed that it becomes really huge. We'll have also a discussion regarding the role of sporting director and how this position can be performed with impact, especially by former players. We'll also have a discussion about agents, and this is one of the main stakeholders of our business, but it must be regulated. So we'll have an important discussion about how it can be regulated to be more impactful and better way. Here are some topics that we will go through during the day. During the day also we'll have some moderator. We'll be looking for questions coming in from social media. So do not hesitate to use the hashtag #AskMIP if you've got a question to put to any of our panel across the day.
You will also hear about the realities of players transitioning to their next careers. So for the footballers watching, be ready to take notes as we will be passing on expert advice and tips. And to close the day, we will hear from UEFA on why they set up the MIP course ahead of our fellow alumni members, Jason Roberts, Lisa Monk, and Gareth Farrelly, sharing some thoughts on the MIP alumni's role and the vision going forward. But before any of that, you will be hearing from a legend and visionary in the game, Arsène Wenger. Arsène will very shortly be in conversation with our host, Pedro Pinto, a special opportunity for us all to listen to the expert views, one of football's ultimate thought leaders.
So, in summary, we are the MIP Alumni, a group of former international players that have got so much from our career as footballers and are now in a position to help shape the future of the games as leaders. One day we'll pass the baton onto the next generation of leaders in sport, and we have to do that having made positive steps during our time, and we mean it. As players, we achieved within a team. We performed our roles as best possible, and we experienced success and failure, unfortunately. We learned together, and we improved together. That sense of pursuing excellence and success never leaves you, nor does that understanding that you achieve very little alone and so much more as a collective. We are the MIP alumni, and we look forward to influencing the game positively, together with you all. Thank you.
Bruno and Bianca, thank you so much for your words and giving a little bit more insights on what the MIP is all about and the Alumni Association, which you created as well. Congratulations for making successful transitions from life on the pitch to off the pitch. Bruno, you're head of recruitment at Olympique Lyonnais, and Bianca, you're sporting director at Bayern Munich Women. So fantastic you've been able to take that success from what you were doing on the pitch to now roles in management. I was lucky enough to be part of a few MIP sessions now and giving some communications courses as well. And the atmosphere among the players was really something to appreciate how determined everybody was really to do their best. And it's not easy sometimes to make that transition to being watched by millions of people while you are performing live, and then going to work in an office and having to deal with that kind of corporate environment. I do have a couple of questions for you about the alumni, and starting with you, Bruno. Why did you feel it was necessary to start this association, and what do you feel you are accomplishing with it?
I mean, it comes from my former experience. I was in the manager general of CDUS in France, and they created an association afterwards where all the association of the course were once a year together in the ski station in the French Alps. And it was something that was really unique to be able to share within the people who were following the course, and also to be able to meet up sometimes, because we all have some our life now, a lot of activities. We are really busy all over the place, and to be able to perpetuate the course and to keep meeting up at some stage physically, it was something that I felt really important. And after, of course, we share with Bianca, with all the German like Sebastian Kell or Simon Rolfes, and they were really positive also to create something like that. And to be honest, afterwards, we don't have to regret it. We just at the beginning of the association and the alumni, but we're really happy so far that what we've achieved.
Bruno, you said you are busy, and obviously you're trying to manage your careers. I'm sure that also managing the alumni in a pandemic brings its own challenges. Bianca, how have you found the time to keep the alumni not only going, but make it stronger? And what kind of challenges has COVID posed as well in staying in touch?
Honestly, I have to say the Corona kind of helped us to follow the way we wanted to go. We had time to sit down and had time to share how can we move on with the alumni, and to have this conference today was the vision we had, and we put everything together. And I think it's a really good step now to go public. We were working a lot behind the doors, but today it's the day, and I'm really happy that we made this work today, and looking forward to what is coming.
I wanted to ask what skills you think the MIP gave you in order for you to be able to make that transition. What was the main thing that both of you took from the course, from the different teachers, and from interacting with fellow pupils as well?
Bruno or me?
Bianca, of course.
I think it was very helpful in terms of having, Lise Monk told us in the video already, it's like a hands-on learning. It's different to go to the university and listen to the teacher. It's more you get expert advice, you get internally information, which really helps you, in creating your own pathway, and to get this insights from everyone and from very interesting people from different business was a unique opportunity we had.
Yeah, just to complete, and I hope that my son doesn't look at it, but I was not a big fan of school, so I didn't want to go back to school, of course. And the course of MIP was really interesting in terms of the experience shared by the speakers. It was really high-level speakers like you, Pedro. You don't be humble. You were one of the very good speakers we had to share the experience you had, and of course, it's always difficult to make the transition, but with that kind of experience you share, with the importance of the network is really, really massive, and that's what we can learn from also the MIP course.
You know, I wanted to get your honest opinion on how much you think football professionals, both the men's game and the women's game, think about their future when they're playing. Because I work with football professionals on a day-to-day basis, and it's so easy to get caught up in performing the next result, the next title, the next, dealing with the pressure. What message do you have for current players who have not yet thought about what they are going to do after they stop playing and have that security of another career to come?
I think there's I can talk just from on the women's football side. I think there's a big or a huge difference compared to years ago, where we had a bit more time because there were not so much competition. We had some time to learn, to go to school, but these times are changing. The competitions are getting more and more the players don't have so much time anymore. So it's getting more into the direction of men's football. But I still think, because we don't make the same money as a men's football players does, so but I still think it's very, very important that the players in a young age, making sure to find their way, to find what they like, to explore, or to have the opportunity to get access to learning, to have something in their hands when they stop playing. And I think it's crucial that they do this.
What about you, Bruno? What message do you have for current players?
No, I mean, even if football professional career is really busy with a lot of travel and everything, we still have some times to learn some stuff. So after, it's just a matter of what you want to do afterwards. Now I think you have more and more jobs available for former players, like TV pundit, coach, management. There are more jobs available and around football. So of course it was something that we master a lot because we played football games. But you always can learn some languages, which is crucial, I think, for now. The world and football world is not just local; it's really international. You can play with an African player, an American player, an Asian player. So if you can learn at least some languages, and Pedro, you're a good example for that, it's really important in the life now. So it can be my advice to learn some languages.
Now, the word family has been used a lot when describing the kind of atmosphere that exists in the MIP. What has been the importance of having that network through the course and through the alumni now?
The network is something. It was something big, even through the course. The people you meet, the people you have exchanges with the speakers, with let's say the members of the MIP alumni, and this is something where you have the chance to share experience. And even today, you can just take the phone and call like some of the MIP alumni members, and it's not a problem. It's an easy access, and it helps because it helps you to grow. And even if you have questions, you can share information. You can share. You have an exchange, and which is I think today, which is crucial because every one of us has different roles, like Bruno and Leon. Simon in Leverkusen. There are like so many people out there from the MIP who are having different roles and having different experience, and I think it's an add-on from this network.
What about you?
I can have something a bit smiling for Bianca, but now because of the network and because of the course, if I want to steal a player to Bayern Munich, I just have to call Bianca and I say, Bianca, I'm going to steal your player.
Finally, a word about what you want people to take from the conference today. There's a star-studded lineup, a lot of experienced, insightful people who will be speaking in a variety of panels. What's your main objective when people kind of disconnect later on this afternoon after following the sessions? What do you want them to take from it?
I think that's the president's question.
No, but you know, it's our first conference. We try to get a really large panel with some different topics to talk. And of course, if it's a success, we'll try to make some more and with different topics. But one of our value is expertise. And if it's not through us directly, it can be through the speakers, as you have with Arsène in a few minutes, which just have to listen to him and to some others, and you will learn a lot. So, you know, we want really to share with this alumni and to share good practice and to try to influence positively the game. We want to give back to the game. We don't want to give back to players. We don't want to give back to some of the stakeholders. We want to give back to the game in more general perspective. So this is one of the main things that we want to get out from this conference.
And when you talk about the MIP moving forward and the courses that are yet to come, obviously the pandemic has affected what can be done physically for classes to join up and follow the curriculum. But what can we expect from the MIP in the coming years as more and more players start to join the movement?
I mean, it's a huge group. We already, Bruno said it, we are 50 members at the moment, and 50 leaders around the planet who are having, like huge position. And it's our vision to kind of change something, and we're here to change something. And this is something we want to bring out to the world. We have this expertise, we have this experience as a football player, which is definitely something special, because we went through the whole journey, and we see things which are maybe not working so well, and we want to make it change.
Keep growing, keep integrating the new promotions coming up, and yeah, keep adapting to the new world, to the new football world, because it's changing so fast now that we have to adapt, and adapt is really a key word also to be able to follow the way and to follow the journey. So yeah, we'll see how is the pandemic, but we planned before to have this conference to meet physically and to try to get some annual meeting at least, to be able to be together, to stick together, to share our experience within the group, and to see after how we can share our experience and our best practices all over the place. But of course, it's a worldwide group, so we can have some people from all over the world, and this is really interesting to have different perspectives from different regions of the world. And also, we in our group in MIP1, we had a referee, Roberto Rossetti. He can bring something else, something different. So, you know, when we are talking about network, you just have to call Roberto to know exactly what's going on from this point of view. We have some people from futsal. We have some people from all different kind of activities related to football. So we just want to keep growing, to keep adapting to the new world, and to keep influencing positively the football that we love.
And I have to ask a little bit of a personal question, Bruno and Bianca, and I want you to be honest. What was the biggest challenge that you had when you started working in a corporate world? What were some of your thoughts in the beginning on if you could do it, if you couldn't do it, how did you manage to overcome those challenges and insecurities that you had in that new skin that you had to wear on a day-to-day basis, right?
Yeah, it's a tough question. I mean, as a player, you're every day on the field. It's always a shiny world, right? And everyone is asking for you, and then you step out of the field, and times are like changing and challenging, and it's yeah, you don't have the red carpet anymore, and you have to kind of yeah, go through what's waiting for you. So it was a huge step, I would think, and it's not easy for a football player, and it's yeah, for even a big football player. But it's something which you looking forward to as well, because if you step into a job like we do, it's something you work. Like for me, I work in a team, in a huge team, and I really enjoy every day. And it's something I can bring from experience as a player, working in a team, have different characters around me. And this helps me to handle like a big group, and I really like it.
Final word from you, Bruno, please.
Yeah, because Arsène is waiting, so we have to be fast. And you know, it's just to find the good position. It was easy when we were on the pitch, but now, as we talked earlier, it was easy maybe to play in front of 40,000 people than just to talk with you, because we don't master it as we were used to master the football and the pitch. So just to find the right position for us and what we really want to do and how we want to influence the game and to keep living, because of course we stopped football and we stopped our first career at 35, and we still have 30, 40 or 50 years to live, and the best way possible. And we really want to be useful. I think Bianca and me really want to be useful for football and for ourselves. So yeah.
Bruno and Bianca, thank you so much for helping us kick off this conference with some really interesting insights into the creation of the MIP Association, and gives me great pleasure and honor to introduce our next guest, who really doesn't need an introduction, but he deserves one anyway. Arsène Wenger joins us live right now, and obviously after a phenomenal coaching career where he won over 21 titles, many of them with Arsenal, where it would be fair to say he took the Premier League by storm and helped revolutionize the most mediatic league on the planet, known until eternity for those invisibility in 2004, and now he's the Chief of Global Football Development at FIFA. Arsène, good morning. I'm assuming that you can hear me. How are you doing?
Yes, I hear you well.
Fantastic.
Good morning, everybody.
It's an honor to have you participating in this conference today, and you're really a perfect guest for this topic, because you've seen so many players come through the ranks at the teams where you've managed for so many years, and a few of them have gone on to pursue other careers, and we'll get into some of those examples shortly. But I have to ask you first, from your experience, what's the importance of having players graduate into other areas of football and have decision-making power in the game?
Well, personally, I believe that it is important for one main reason. You know, every business or every activity in life has a specificity. And in some departments, it's a commercial that is dominant. In some departments, it's a strategic importance that is vital. But in football, it's a technical knowledge that is important. You know, and sometimes it's difficult to explain to people who come from outside how important it is to understand the technical aspect of the game to make good decisions, and who is in the best position to know really deeply the technical aspect of our games are the players. And that's why it is so important, because the players at the top level have as well 99% of the time a passion for the game. And so the combination of the passion and the knowledge are quite vital and very important for the success of the game. And I just would like to give you, if you have time, an example of some clubs are guided by people who have a history in the game and inside the club. And I think one example of the clubs that's done that and shown and made a demonstration is Bayern Munich. They have been guided by former players. They have been guided through the whole history in the last 40 years by former players of the club at all levels. Is it managing with Beckenbauer? Is it guiding by Uli Hoeneß or Rummenigge now? But you see that at least these clubs do not only do well, but they have a continuity and a consistency at the top level. And that is certainly down to the fact that they have a passion for their club, but as well they have a deep knowledge of football.
It's interesting there that the example with Bayern Munich, because now, of course, they also have Hasan Salihamidzic working there. So really a structure based on former players. Arsène, Bruno and Bianca were talking about some of those initial struggles that players have, obviously going from an environment that is very much informal, where people are spending a lot of time together in dressing rooms, in buses, in hotels, and then all of a sudden they have to adapt to boardrooms and offices. And sometimes that's tougher than it can look. What are some of the transferable skills that you think that a player, because of all the experience that he or she has had during their careers, can automatically take into that other environment to make the connection?
Maybe first, what would be interesting is to identify what is a sportsman, you know, and to make it as simple as possible. A sportsman is a guy who has a body who does what his brain wants, you know. So is that a quality that is transferable after to taking responsibilities inside the game? I don't know. I don't think so. But a player is as well a guy who is used to cope with a certain type of pressure and of delivering results. And he's as well a guy who has to think consistently, how can I improve? How can I become a better player? So that desire to become better is a very important aspect of a sport personality. And I believe as well, the fact that the player can make decisions under stress is an important quality as well, because the stress comes from inside the team. When you walk in a dressing room, you have to say to the other players, look, I'm here from now on, you have to count with me. And he has to turn up when the performance is expected from him. And he has to cope with disappointment. So I would say that internal drive to be better every day is a very important quality. What is missed, certainly, is they are not prepared for that. And I meet many people, you know, sometimes when I make conferences with former players, like I did one in Paris, they don't really know, are they, for what they are good enough for, managing, coaching, being a director. They don't know. They are not prepared for that. And I would say that in our education of tomorrow's football player, we have really to take care of that education between 12 and 20 years old before they go into a career, to help them to improve their level of education, because I personally think it's very important that they take charge of football.
Now, of course, you managed a number of players that have then gone on to take leadership roles in football. Marc Overmars, Edu, Gilles Grimandi, just to mention three. Did you see this coming when you were managing them? And did you see any signs of ambition?
Honestly, no. I would say I have been asked many times that question. And I would say personally, I had many other personalities in my teams through the years who could do it, who can take responsibility in the game, because 99% of the players at that level in top clubs are intelligent. They have an adaptability to solve problems, and they have the qualities. I would say after their parcours is linked with a possibility that they've been given by somebody, and as well sometimes by a desire. But overall, no, it is not. That is something that is not very predictable.
We'll hear a lot about leadership here today throughout the day on this conference, Arsène. Taking this opportunity to speak with one of the greatest leaders in the world of football, what are 3 key attributes that a good leader should have?
Look, a good leader is a guide, you know. That means he needs to have a global concept of what he wants to do. That means that overall you have to say to people, to give a clear picture of where you want to go. And after that, you must be capable to verbalize that, to obtain that from people, and as well to transform that into concrete exercises and daily behavior. But I would say in a modern life, on the last feedback that we got from inquiries we made is that 10 qualities that are requested from a modern manager. Some, I would say 3, some are based on communication, some are based on motivation, some are based on adaptability, and some are based on quality to make decisions, you know, and tough decisions. So I would say that is certainly today the manager needs to have a good communication skills. When I started, you communicated only downwards. Now you have to communicate upwards, sideways, and downwards. And you must convince your owners, you must convince the media, you must convince your fans, and you must be capable to inspire, to give the desire for people to commit with you, give a meaning to what they are doing. And that is something that, of course, becomes vital as well. You must influence as well the players, be capable to give them clarity about where they could be, how they can improve. Must have a global vision. And I would say what is many times forgotten, you need exemplarity, you know. The leader has first to represent the qualities that he wants from other people. And therefore, it is important that you need as well to give quality of feedback to people. Corrective, positive, but they need feedback, you know. When people stand still, that's terrible for them. And the big players, they always need that challenge and that feedback to be capable to improve. And after that, you need to be brave. I must say that we live in an environment that is volatile, uncertain, that creates stress, and that makes difficult decisions, and that forces you always to make difficult decisions. And that's something that is absolutely vital.
Arsène, over the last couple of days, we challenged followers of the MIP on Twitter to send in some questions, and I'd like to join some of these to our discussion because I think they're quite interesting. Question from Callum: should clubs prioritize funding coaching pathways for former players upon retirement to maintain a strong and experienced ethos of a club long term? I guess like an example you gave with Bayern Munich. So the clubs invest on these.
The clubs have not been perfect on that, but I must say as well that the clubs nowadays have managed, in the last 10, 15 years, we've gone from owner supporter to the owner investor, and they are not so much worried about the long-term future of the youth teams and the quality of the youth team coaches. They just want to win and make money and sell players and buy players, you know. So it is something that has maybe to be favorized and negotiated by the unions. I'm convinced as well that is something important. And I would say as well, you know, for me, a manager or a coach has an impact on 3 levels. He has an impact on the style of play and the quality of the results. He has an impact, as I just told you, on the development of the players, and he has an impact on the development and the structure of the club. That means, for me, more than the trophies, and for me, it is very important that when you go into this kind of jobs, by thinking it's important, the value that you generate, the human values that you generate, the structure you leave behind you is the most important thing, you know. And to be active on these 3 fronts is a needed ambition for a top-level coach.
Arsène, I have a question that actually matches perfectly with that. It's from Punit, and the question is, will we see ex-pros like Xavi, Arteta, Gerrard, and many others shape the coming decades when it comes to the style of play? Or will that actually be the footballers who are also transforming the way the game is played? But when you have such big-name players who influenced the style of play at many of their clubs, with Xavi at Barcelona for many years, Gerrard obviously at Liverpool, and Arteta at Arsenal, well, what's the role of these former players in shaping the way the football will be played in the future?
Well, I would say that first of all, you have to anticipate what the future will be and to understand what the future will be. I would say the danger, the advantage of these guys is they understand the game. After, they must make the effort to think, where can I improve and where the football will be tomorrow. I would say that, to sum it up, basically, in the last 10 years, football has become, the football player has become an athlete football player. You know, in the last 10 years has been a little bit, mainly, since we measure the performances, an athletic development. And the next 10 years, of course, this guy, they can help to produce the new players, but I personally believe it will be more the mental, the brain development, and that you have to shape the players to analyze quicker the game, to make quicker decisions, to be more flexible on their decision making, and to improve the technical quality. Because physically, I think we have arrived at the top. Now the rest will be more maybe decision making and technical quality, and these players can help, of course.
Semper asks, throughout your management career, what is the one thing that always motivated you? The fear of losing, the joy of winning, the trophies, or the game itself?
The game itself. And the game itself. I was motivated by the game itself and by the dream of my players playing the perfect game. And I would say I was guided as well by this is something that you never speak about, but the most important thing in our job is to believe in human beings, you know. And because we forget many times when you're the manager or coach that the players disappoint you, but we forget the number of times they make us happy, the number of times they save us as well, and they give us fantastic emotions. But I was really deeply guided by playing the kind of football I love.
A couple of final questions for you, and I have to ask you about the evolution of the football player. You mentioned the physical side, but the multimedia side is also very important. And when a player has the brand value that he or she has many times, how difficult is it to manage that person and keep that person with their feet on the ground and do what's best for the team? So as a leader, how do you deal with it, and how did you deal with it when you saw that evolution from the beginning of your coaching career to the end of your coaching career?
I would say overall, what you say basically is that the players have more power and more responsibilities as well, because football has become very important. But it can make them more powerful, but as well more fragile. And we see now trends inside the football world where people move away again from social networks, because the stress created by that is very important. And you have always a category of people who want to destroy people who are successful. So what I will say in general, people will rise to a challenge if it is their challenge. If you can get them to own, that's what I told you before, the feedback is so vital. And I would say, if one advice I can give to all these people going into football, don't underestimate the communication. It's the most important part for self-esteem, for confidence, for desire to develop. And I would say overall, I have a vision now about many games, because I am at FIFA. Believe me, the communication factor is an underestimated factor. And because people are under stress, people have to deliver, but it is absolutely vital to get the players to own your project. Once the team owns your project, everything becomes easier. But that is, of course, down to convincing, to communicating, to have expertise, and to be a good communicator.
And Arsène, to close, as you look to the future of the game, what's your message to all the stakeholders in order to continue to ensure the sustainability of football on and off the pitch? And how vital is it to find new ways to lead and engage and to think about improvements that can continue to be made in the game?
I would say basically let's until 2024, football is locked. You cannot change anything. But today, with the COVID, it's a good opportunity to sit together and see how can we change football for the better. I would say keep it simple for the fans who love football. It's very important that we remain simple. Make it faster, more spectacular, more attractive. And that's why we have not to be scared to change rules in our game. I'm convinced that the time has come. We have all to sit, all the stakeholders sit around the table, the media, the fans, the supporters, the players, the coaches, and be creative and find new solutions to make our sport even more spectacular.
Well, Arsène, you're very well positioned to make important changes and give important advice on the future of the game with your position of Chief of Global Football Development at FIFA. We really appreciate your time and the insight that you've shared over the last few minutes on the role of former players in protecting the future of the game and making sure that the game remains true to itself, and also sharing some of your thoughts on leadership. All the best from us. Thank you very much. Stay safe, you and your family, and all the best. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you. All the best to you, and all the best, of course, to all the former players who are working with you.
It is a fantastic association. Thank you very much, Arsène, for your time this morning. Arsène Wenger joining us, one of the many star guests that we'll have here throughout the day on the MIP Alumni Association conference. Really hope you enjoyed that conversation and some of the thoughts of one of the best managers, if not of all time, certainly of his generation, someone who won so much, but also lent an important identity to the Premier League and helped transition it into a new era. So this was the first of a variety of important discussions that we'll have here throughout the day. We're going to take a very, very small break at this time, but please stay with us, because coming up we have the next session focused on the role of the sporting director, a session that will be moderated by Kjeld Bordengaard, and we'll have the return of Bianca Rech and also the participation of Simon Rolfes, Hanno Tihinen, and Eniola Aluko. Enjoy that. I'll see you later on in the day. Thank you.